Right, so today I'm back with a movie after a while. Actually, haven't there's not many movies out there right now, and plus the pandemic is slowing everything down. So cinemas are finding it really difficult to release movies. I believe streaming services are doing okay, but I review movies more so than TV series. So it's just kind of a thing that's a little bit tricky to do. Plus, TV series they go over several episodes over some weeks. So some people like to review it episode to episode. It seems interesting, and I might, look into doing it. But there's just not that many TV series that's, anywhere interesting like these movies that I'm reviewing, and especially this one, Batman: The Long Halloween Part One. So I watched this a few days ago, and it's good. It is pretty good. It's a cartoon, yes. It has animation, yes. It has great art style. The drawing is fantastic. The characters, first of all, in this story are very, very well narrated. They have good dialogues, they have good personality, and the motive, or rather the story itself, is pretty solid. Though there's some chance of predictability and some, like certain things you expect to go the way it's supposed to go, and it does. They also try to pull out a twist every now and then, and some of these twists are pretty good. Unfortunately, if you have watched the trailer or you see any of these screenshots as is, you have already spoiled a lot of things. But this is a spoiler review, so that's fine. But if you want to suggest it to your friends who have not watched this film, I suggest they highly do. But everything, a lot of the spoilers are there in the trailer or in this photos, because this is an investigation film. It really shows Batman more so as a detective, or trying to be a detective, and he's not a very good one in this. He relies a lot on the help of Harvey Dent as well as Commissioner Gordon, and he struggles to figure out who the real villain is, because the villain itself is, quite well hidden. And since this is only part one, it obviously means that there's going to be a part two. And in part two, probably we will see the big reveal of who the actual villain is and what the intention of the villains is. And I get it, Catwoman is hot in this, and there's a lot of photos of her, but seriously, guys, couldn't you upload something else? The Joker in this was pretty amazing. He is truly the, clown prince of crime. He's a psychopath that's just doing psycho things, and I like that. I like going back to that, absolute psycho story. Jensen Ackles as Batman, he did a great job. I'm a big fan of him since Supernatural. I believe everyone is. But he truly did a great job. I couldn't differentiate between him as Batman and the legend, what's his name, Kevin Conroy or something. I think it's Kevin Conroy as Batman, and I don't think there's really much of a difference between them. They both pull off a really good role. This guy pulls off a younger Batman perhaps a little bit better, and perhaps gives us potential to see an actual Batman out of him someday. And also, the story itself is decent, as I've said, a little bit predictable, but I can't wait to see part two. And there's a little bit of twist here and there, with the mafia especially. It was kind of predictable. I kind of knew what's going to happen in the way it happened. It's just that there is more to the story, and that's where it gets a little bit more interesting. So they're building up towards part two. I believe if they want to pull out a twist, they got to make things a little more subtle, a little more hidden, and give us a little bit more believable clues and ideas, rather than making it so obvious. Because when you show certain stories of certain side characters, and those characters have no other reason to be there, you kind of know that it's obvious that they're tying towards the twist where this character has to do, has to be the villain, or has to be the hero, or he's the reason that things happen. So they got to build the twist a little bit better, I feel. But I believe that it will get more interesting. Is this a film for kids? No, not really. It could be a little bit boring for kids. It's more so for mafia story and an investigation story. There is a bit of romance involved between Batman and Catwoman. Nothing too out of the ordinary. Although I would have liked to see a little more. I would have liked to see the story take a little more serious, more mature tone, because everything else in the story is about mafia and violence. There's no harm in there having a little bit more sex, maybe a little bit more romance in a more adult way. I think there's nothing wrong, because I'm pretty sure a lot of the people who are watching these are adults, and a lot of these characters are drawn to appeal to adults. And the even the drawing is very dark and broody looking, psychopath, a lot of blood and gore, and there's no reason to go full adult. You can get a full circle of things that really happen in real life. And I believe we need a bit more of Bruce Wayne's story. We only got to see him like a short while in this film, and doesn't really do much. And Batman's action sequences are okay; they're nothing too out of the ordinary because the villains he faces are pretty much all under his control. He hasn't faced a villain that's he hasn't faced someone like Deadshot or Deathstroke or a lot of these higher caliber villains. He faces the Joker, who is yes, of course, good in his own right, but he's still a pretty ordinary fighter. He doesn't really use many skills or anything like that. This is Calendar Man. He doesn't really do much. He's just there as part of the film. Harvey Dent does get into an explosion, and I thought the twist would have been there to turn him into Two Face, but they didn't. Things like that I felt were okay. Fine, you don't turn him into Two Face yet. You keep him as Harvey Dent. You keep him as the White Knight and the Batman as the Dark Knight. But where is this going to? We'll see soon. I'm pretty sure part two is not too far off, and I can't wait for it. This is super fun, super exciting, and I think the rating of it, which is given in IMDb, is pretty fair to it. I believe it was a 7 or something. Yeah, it's a 7.6. I think that's pretty close to what I would rate it. I would rate this film a 7 out of 10. I'm going to go ahead and pop it up. Uh, and let me just pull that up a little bit. There you go, 7 out of 10. I feel that it's a fair rating. You can take it as a 6, you can take it as an 8. As I've said before, I give what I feel is most appropriate. It's a decent film, but it needs part two to be complete. I would want to rate this closer to a 6 out of 10 just because there are so many things that we have seen before. It's really nothing new. But I feel that we need more of these. Sometimes these kind of series keeps the story going, keeps Batman going, keeps the ideas of all these amazing writers going. And I feel that sometimes you just gotta push it a little bit off the edge, do something a little bit unusual. And ever since Snyder has left the DC, we haven't seen unusual. Before that, of course, we've seen the likes of Justice League Dark, Flashpoint Paradox. Those things were amazing because they did things a little bit out of the box. Of course, the Killing Joke was amazing as well, and I feel that Batman has the potential to do something that he has not already done before. And in this film, we see a lot of things that are a little bit repetitive. So you know what? I'm going to drop a point for that and just leave it at a 6. So you can take it at a 5, you can take it as a 7, but I think this is the rating for me. A little bit harsh, I know. I like the characters of Batman, Joker, the entire DC universe, as you guys probably know. But I feel that these characters they need to do something a little bit different. They need to do something a little bit more powerful. And even if they want to do the same thing, they got to do it a little bit craftier. They got to be a little bit more intense about it. They gave a lot of moments with the Joker showing he's a psycho and all that, but he doesn't do many psycho things. He just does the same things we already know Joker does. Still nothing out of the box. I expected Wonder Woman being part of the story was because she's gonna, you know, get caught in Joker's plans and something horrible is gonna happen to her. That's why they were building up this romance. But no, none of that happened. There were really the stakes felt pretty low. Everything that happens to these characters happens to someone else. Some side character, and I hope that they take it up a notch when we go to part two. And I really want to see a lot more serious film, a lot more better film, because this is clearly made for adults, so you have no reason to want to hold it at a PG-13 level. You have a lot of blood and stuff going on. You really shouldn't be showing this to your 13 or 14-year-olds. I think there's no reason to. But if you feel they're mature enough for this kind of content, you want to go through the cruel or rather the bloody detective route, then go ahead, but make Batman a better detective. He was really bad in this one, and he admits it. He says, I've been a bad detective. Batman says that, in fact, in this film. So we need a little bit more suspense, a little bit more horror, a little bit more something to make it more interesting because this is Halloween, right? I was expecting a really spooky, scary story for the Batman, but no, it's been really subtle. I feel they held back a lot, and I wanted to push a little bit further. And I think part two might just do it for me, and I can't wait to see it. And if it does well, I really hope it does. This might be a really good movie. I like to watch it as a single part, part one and two combined into a single film. Maybe a 3-hour film. That might be awesome. So yeah, that's it from me. See you guys in the next one. Adios.